Okay, you don't mind me saying that you're a multi-entrepreneur. I
Oh,
mean, you
of
kind of
course
are.
not.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, why not? Why
Exactly.
not? Okay.
Exactly.
Hello, and welcome to the show. I'm Vivian So of joliepagel.com. Today's guest is one of my good friends, Lisa of Lex Life Coaching. She's a full-time single mother, and she is what I like to call a multi-entrepreneur. In this episode, we're talking about using your career and life experiences to create opportunities, balancing your personal life with your hustle life, and the most important thing of all, growing both your personal and professional community. You can follow Lisa on Instagram at LexLifePDX. I'll have bullet points of what we covered and her info linked in the show notes, which you can find on my blog at joliepagel.com/podcast.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on this show, and I owe you happy hour.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get together for a happy hour.
I know we have. You're a mother to one beautiful mini you, and you're kind of a serial entrepreneur. How do you find time to build your business?
Well, I just have to time block. Like I block it into my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, unfortunately, like I never thought that would be my life, running it so to a T, and scheduled and just organized like that. But that's what I have to do. So I time block when I work on my business. Sometimes it's right after the little lady goes to school, and sometimes
Uh-huh.
it's after she goes to bed. So,
Yeah, that's a
hmm
lot. Mm-hmm.
it's a lot.
Yeah. Are you using like a Google Calendar or just a hard copy calendar or your phone?
I do Google Calendar, and it is on all of my devices. So,
Gotcha.
and then I color code things too. So,
That's
um,
helpful.
yeah, a trick I learned is, if a task is going to make me money, I color code it in my schedule as green. And so I can really, I can really focus on things I need to do. And
Girl, gotta make money.
yeah, what do I need to focus my hustle on, And the green ones usually get more of my time and attention.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So everyone color in green on your calendar if you're gonna make money.
Yeah. I do purple for personal. I mean,
Oh, there
whatever,
you go.
do
Of
your own.
course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Everyone
but
needs
green for
personal
money.
time.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah.
do you put in a lot of personal time though, or are you just hustling all the time?
Well, honestly, I need to put in more personal time, but it's not for me lack of planning it. It's
Hmm.
more of a, like a childcare situation. So,
Right.
yeah, I have a group of trusted people that will take my daughter for me so I can have some social time. But, if one of their kiddos gets sick or, something comes up, then that's right out the window. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's for the best. And I um, never get upset with more time with my daughter. But yes, it's something. So I'm growing my network,
Hmm.
my community
Hmm.
of people. That's important, so I can
Hmm.
have a backup plan for my backup plan.
Of course, you always need support, especially as a
Yes,
single parent. You
absolutely.
need that
So
support.
that is so a lot of my focus this year is, continuing to build my community because I do need that support. That is somewhere that I'm lacking.
So you came from the jewelry industry and you're now in the real estate industry. You also do life coaching. And of course, we talked about networking and building your networking business. So this
Yes.
is like a two-part question, but what
Okay.
made you decide to jump from the jewelry industry to into real estate and life coaching industry? And also, how did you start your career as a life coach?
Okay. So I loved the jewelry industry. I think I have about right under 15 years in that industry. But since it is retail, that kind of, it just wasn't an option for me once I became a parent, especially a single parent, to do retail. So I had to look at other options, and I dabbled in the wine and spirit industry for a little bit, and that worked well with daytime hours and for my love of adult beverages. But it just, it wasn't enough. So I started working I got a 9 to 5 in property management and used my sales experience in that industry. And that started translating into, well, all of the apartments are rented. What am I going to do now for the remainder of the year? And so I started doing some research about getting into real estate, because there's always homes for sale and more clients and things of that nature. So it was a scary transition, leaving a 9 to 5 and going into real estate. But then I remembered in jewelry, I was 100% commission based, and I did just fine for myself. So that gave me the confidence I needed to make that leap financially. And it was kind of I briefly did real estate in the Midwest before relocating. And it was also a vehicle to get a job offer out here and then go through the whole process of removing my daughter from the state and relocating out here, which is really what we needed to do to lead, healthy and happy lives. So real estate gave me that freedom and push. And then as far as life coaching, I have been coaching my friends over cocktails for years, just based on my own life experiences. And then in jewelry, I would always, be helping with growing businesses and leadership and training. And so when I received an offer to move out west and get, it was actually for real estate for a leadership position. So I was going to build someone's team for them out here. And that kind of, filled all of the buckets that I was into, leadership and training and coaching and sales, and got out here, and that person just disappeared. They were my catalyst for moving out here, but they got me out here and then they disappeared. So I then had to find another opportunity in real estate that provided a little bit more security. But while I was doing that, I wasn't in a leadership position, and I was really just clamoring for something to do in that field. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to start coaching, because I don't need to wait for a position to be offered to me. I'm going to continue on with real estate, and I'm going to start growing my coaching business on the side. So that's what I did. And I'm coaching people in business and in, life coaching. It's kind of hard to describe because I kind of do it all, and one hand kind of washes the other. So a lot of people that need business coaching also, it turns into a more holistic approach with, what else in their life that they need to balance out and need accountability for. So,
So it's not only like you found an opportunity because you needed to, just for personal growth and everything. And plus it's extra income on the side. On top of that, you're helping people with not just their business side, but also their personal life. So you're kind of like an all-round therapist in a way.
Right. Well,
business
in psychology. I did want to become a psychologist, but I was just like, I can't do school for that long.
Right.
So it's been in my blood for a long time. And so now I'm building that and feeling really fulfilled.
Good. can you tell me a little bit more about what you do as a life coach? We touched a little bit
Yeah.
about that, but like, do most people come with you like, hey, I need help with my personal career growth, or are they saying, I need you to help me balance both personal and career?
So it's a gamut right now. So
Okay.
I'm getting the hey, let me bend your ear about this business that I want to start. So we'll start a coaching relationship that way. Or, I mean, funny enough, when I go out in social settings and
Mm-hmm.
talk to people, they start asking me these questions like, oh, well, my buddy, we want to start this business, but he needs security. And, what can I say to him? So I've met a lot of people, a lot of guys actually that way that to need help connecting the dots and actually want advice for their friends. And then then it turns into like a dating advice as well. So
Right.
it's just all encompassing. We're all kind of, the great thing about coaching and the coaching that I do is everyone is striving to grow in some way, shape, or form. They are mentally healthy, capable people that just need help connecting the dots and accountability, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm finding that's what I'm doing. I started off, I did a digital course for single parent entrepreneurs because
Mm-hmm.
that's the questions I was getting most often then. But now I think my next, well, what I'm going to be doing next is, I've been doing one-on-one coaching alongside that. And I just realized after creating a digital course, I really like connecting one-on-one with people more so than creating content and putting it out there. And
Mm-hmm.
granted, that's residual income, but I really like forming relationships with people, and communicating one-on-one and really focusing in on their specific needs. So I'm going to be kind of revamping my one-on-one coaching style over the next couple of months here and creating more of an experience, more of as I grow and learn in my coaching practice, I can pass along things. And so I'm really kind of focusing on the masculine and feminine essence right now in businesses and in
Mm-hmm.
personal life. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something I'm going to be bringing to the table shortly with my one-on-one coaching program. So,
Okay, so what do you mean
yeah.
by masculine and feminine essence?
Okay. So I love talking about this.
Okay, go
So,
for it.
all right. So there's kind of a shift right now in the way people, I mean, in sales, really. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of us no longer like the hard sale, very heavy, masculine, patriarch, like
Oh yeah.
way of selling,
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
embracing, being like selling from just a place of sharing and have it be more organic and feminine and not pushy, but just like being a resource for people to help and guide them. It's going to be changing because so many people have gotten away from the one-on-one experience in sales because of the internet. And now we're finding that, hey, we're missing out on human connection. So people are
Mm-hmm.
circling back around, but they don't want to be, sold to like that cliche used car salesman. So,
Yes. Yeah.
so embracing the feminine way of selling, like that's what I do in real estate. So I listen to my clients and their needs, and every single situation I'm going to handle differently because there's the psychology of it all. And I'm not scripted. Like I have learned my scripts to kind of fill in gaps, for just, for speaking purposes. I've rehearsed things, but I always say it in my way, and actually I tailor it to my audience. And
Mm-hmm.
that is something that has been lacking in sales and for a very long time. So that's just a more feminine approach to the situation. And then as far as the divine feminine and masculine, you can apply this concept in business and in, romance and all of that. If you identify, it doesn't have to do with gender, but if you identify as having a masculine essence, the way you set up your life is going to be very different from if you have a feminine essence. So an example, masculine essence are going to be purpose driven, and they need to identify their life's work or their life's purpose to feel fulfilled and to build healthy relationships in and outside of business. Whereas people who have a feminine essence need to feel, they're more, they don't have to, I think their life's purpose more is to just give and receive love. So that means like connecting with people, having conversations, communicating, feeling supported, all of those things. That's more of a feminine essence. So realizing that and realizing you attract people who are, usually polarity to you. So if you're a feminine essence, you're going to attract more masculine essence into your life just because of polarity. It's a very interesting metaphysical concept and stuff I'm working with right now. So
yeah, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. Like in sales, really, a lot of people do not like that stereotypical car salesy type of person. And also, what I have been seeing, what you've mentioned, is that more people want to be sold by a friend.
yeah,
You may not know them, but they relate to you and you relate to them. And really, that's what people want to experience now. It's like more like a connection. That way, they're more likely to purchase something from you.
exactly.
Yeah.
And just thinking, just being in a position myself where my superiors would tell me, yeah, you're doing a great job, but your production needs to be at this level. And then I would say, but I'm bringing in clients. There's something to be, it's not all about numbers. People are not numbers. And it's always made me feel very uncomfortable. And I just thought, because it was, inexperience or underperformance, but it's not, it's just, I can't get behind that. Like, prove yourself to me, prove your worth to me by your numbers. It's more like, no, I'm creating loyal clients who trust me, and that will always be more important to me. And so I, in my 20s, I wouldn't push back, but it was just this weird feeling for me. It just didn't feel aligned. And now now that I'm running my businesses, it's not about numbers, it's about people. So and I was just so tired of hearing that. Prove yourself. Like, oh, that's great, but let's increase your production by 25%. And it's like, oh, the carrot dangle situation. It's just
one feels kind of like more of a lie, right? If you're trying to up your numbers and you're trying to gain all these clients and they're just numbers, right? These clients are just numbers. So at the end of the day, it feels dishonest because you don't feel like you're selling a good enough product or selling whatever it is you're trying to do. It feels like a lie versus the other way around, where you are building these wonderful relationships with clients that will last, and you feel good about yourself because you're also not only gaining a client, you're gaining a friend. That always feels good when you have a community who will support you and you support them.
Exactly.
So,
and that's what I'm about, growing the community. So that is going to transfer into all areas,
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you also organize a fun networking group called Boss Babes Collective.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. How did that originate, and what is the goal behind Boss Babes?
So we're not even, we're just under a year for Boss Babe Collective.
There's quite a few ladies in there. I've noticed, like a
Yeah.
lot.
We have grown so organically, but it's such a wonderful group. So right around this time last year, I met a fantastic lady by the name of Lizzie Bell, and she put together a woman's self-love event for Valentine's Day. So I jumped on and I wanted to be a part of it. And so we met doing that event, and we received great feedback and we liked working together. So as we kind of grew our friendship over the next couple months, we talked about business. She's an entrepreneur as well, with a photography business. So we just kind of bounced ideas off of each other. I had been going to a lot of networking groups and just not feeling the greatest. It was just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'll show up. And then, I'll probably never see these people again. Or, it's just, I was out there, but it just didn't feel the greatest. And just being a single woman, usually I got asked out more than, building business relationships, which was not what I was there for. So yeah. We talked about that and how there was kind of a lack in our community for a place where, like a networking group for women, entrepreneurs and creatives, to just really coinciding with this idea of selling from a different, like not that hard selling organically. Like these are people that we wanted to grow relationships with organically and do business with organically. And so we started it slow, and it was on Meetup for a while. And so we're having our monthly meetups, and we just attracted the most amazing women into this group, and they felt that their need was fulfilled, and that they didn't, we kept hearing feedback. Like, we've been waiting, this is something that we've needed and we didn't know we needed. And I always walk away with such great insights and energy. And it's just a very positive place where it was pretty unstructured in the beginning. We usually wanted to handle one topic at the meeting. So we, I think one time we just talked about like negotiating not only like I negotiate real estate contracts. That's actually my favorite part. I love I love being a hard ass sometimes, and yeah, that's fun. And getting like fighting for my clients and seeing what I can get for them. But we also talked about negotiating salaries, and it was a fun topic. And so then from that point forward, we just started talking about a new topic every month. And now since we've grown, we transferred over to Facebook and got off of Meetup, because we don't really obviously want to grow, but we don't need, 400 members. We actually want to know the people and form friendships and business relationships. And that's what we've done. I've met a wonderful mortgage lender that I have sent clients to. So I've done business with people in the group, and I've formed friendships. And now we have like a book club offshoot. And I started co-working for the group. So we do a co-working weekly, so we can kind of, because that's what the need is for, like the just isolation of entrepreneurship. A lot of us needed that accountability, and just to be working on our own things, but in the same space, has proven to be a great tool. So we're growing it. It's been great, and we're getting great feedback and great women from all sorts of industries, and yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, that's really important to always have, again, not to like repeat myself like a broken record, but to build a community that is so important. So important, especially for anyone, whether you're a single parent or not a parent.
Well, and our mission is collaboration over competition. As women, I think society has kind of just bred us to compete with one another. And a turning point for me when I got a little bit older was just saying, you know what? There's pie for everyone. And I
Yes.
think if we can just be honest and open with one another and help each other grow, we're going to grow ourselves even more so than taking from
From
somebody else
someone.
or competing.
Yep.
We need that. And it's been lacking in previous generations, and collaboration
I
over competition.
I agree. That's a great mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. We all need that and a reminder of that, especially younger women who are still in that competition mode with other women. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Do you plan on building other businesses in the future?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have
I
anything in the works right now
Oh
or?
my goodness. No, I have ideas. My end goal is to have 5 income streams.
Oh wow.
So, I'm going to play into the real estate market. I definitely want to own and be a property manager myself for my
Hmm.
own real estate portfolio. That would be great. I think I'll probably invest in the Midwest though,
Yeah.
to start with.
It
Uh-huh. Yeah.
is it less? It's less there, right, than over
It's
here.
less, and they're on a different uptick mark. So they're like in their like second year of growth, where we are here. I think it's like we're at the end of the eighth or ninth year, and it's usually an 8-year cycle. So I
Hmm.
know Portland is not typical, so it's going to keep growing, but we are starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. So, investing my money in the Midwest, playing that game for a while before investing out here is probably what I'll be doing. But so
Hmm.
just utilizing my skills in that area. But I mean, I have so many interests, and I would really. One thing is back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there is a listener supported radio station that is amazing. And when I moved out here, I was like, well, Portland, I'm sure has something that will be like blow me out of the water, because I really love this station. And got out here and it was so sad.
No.
There's nothing equivalent. And so I'm like, oh, I would really love to build something like that as a as another project.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's listener supported radio, and so there's no commercials, and they do community stories and play really great music,
Hmm.
indie music mostly. But yeah, it's just I thought there would already be something like that out here and thriving, and it's not. So,
Yeah, there isn't
yep.
really.
Mm-mm.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, what advice do you have for single parents who are contemplating a startup?
Um, wow, so much. I mean, you have to do it because being a single parent, like, responsibility is always going to be on you, but single parents are the most resourceful people I have ever met.
Hmm. Yeah.
We find a way, and it's difficult, but yeah, your little ones are looking to you and you're leading them, and just the 9 to 5 is only going to give you so much. And being starting your own business gives you that freedom to really be there for important things like little school field trips and
Yeah.
holidays that are like that your kiddo will be off of school, but it might not be you might not be off of work. Just having that freedom is wonderful. So my advice is, another part of it is, I have definitely jumped into entrepreneurship, but then had to scale back and take, some paying jobs here and there on the side. And I was really adverse to it for a while. But then I realized my paid jobs don't have to be like, okay, like here I go to work to pay the bills, and I hate this job and I can't wait to get home and do the work that I really love. What I've realized is that I can find jobs that somehow, way, shape, or form will correlate with what I'm doing in my
Hmm.
businesses.
Hmm.
So I can get paid and probably learn some new skill from somebody that is in the realm of stuff I'm already doing. So that's what I would encourage. Like, do something that, as you're starting your business, do something that will cover your bills so you can breathe. Because it's no fun when you're, trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bills.
Right. Yeah.
And be a single parent. That's a really, really tough situation. And I've been there before, but having your bills taken care of, but also having it correlate and feed into what you're doing I find is the key to my happiness.
Yeah, I agree. Anything that you do as a side hustle that can complement your main career is very beneficial. Okay. 5 documentaries, books our listeners should watch or read.
Okay.
Tough question.
So documentaries, I usually get into the mood and then I binge watch them. But what I've been doing, I'm in more of a book mode lately. So my binge watching is for my brain just to tune out and watch some ridiculousness. So I haven't been watching a lot of documentaries lately, but books, I can give you 5 of those.
Okay, go for it.
Let's see. I listened on Audible to Michelle Obama's Becoming, and that was the best way to read that book because it was, it's in her voice and she's telling her story. I just really enjoyed it. And it was just, it gave me all the feels, like have you read that book?
I have not. I
Okay.
haven't. I'm very terrible when it comes to reading books. So a lot of things are on my list, but
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
I heard it's really good.
It's really good. It's really lengthy, but it's really good. And it's so entertaining to get more of her backstory. And she's just such a motivational woman. So I really liked that. Let's see, another one. Oh, another book I revisited. And I normally don't reread books, but it's been sitting on my bookshelf and I just felt called to read it like last month, was Money, a Love Story. So that's by Kate Northrup. I read it maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just about developing your relationship with money. I love how it's called a love story because so many people have a negative connotation around money. And it is about, getting to love your money and taking care of it and treating it like a relationship between you and money. So I liked that. Yeah.
That sounds like a good book.
It was a good one. What else? I usually am kind of all over the place with what I read.
That's okay.
Let's see. Rise, Sister, Rise was amazing. That it was about, I think the subtitle is Unleashing the Wild Woman Within. So it coincides just about how with the whole, we're getting away from this, patriarchy, and now is the time to rise up with your sisters, build your community up. It was very woo-woo and spiritual, but I loved, that's right. It speaks to my soul these days. So
there you go.
That was a really, really great one. I read I drove across the country listening to Tony Robbins' money book. Have you heard of that one? That one is lengthy.
I have, but I haven't read it.
Okay. It was a long one and I got tired during the drive, so I'd have to turn something else on from time to time. But it lays out everything for you that you need to know to build wealth. So it's about investing your own money, your own self. So not paying someone to do it for you. So he interviewed the top investors and got all of these tips and passed them along. And I heard that he doesn't take any proceeds from the book. It goes to his organization that feeds hungry children across the world, or hungry families. So he didn't take anything. These investors didn't make anything off of this book, but there's some really like practical investing tips. And since I'm going to be getting more into investing in the next couple of years here, I really do want to do a hands-on approach instead of just like, here you go. I know you're probably making compound interest on your fees. And I want to know what I'm doing, and I want to be able to be at that table of that conversation of my money and my wealth and know what's going on. So that was a good one. Okay. All right. I mean, the last one I'll throw in there, it's with the divine masculine and feminine. And that one is enlightened sex. That's been a really good one. So that it's hard to find good books about masculine and feminine energies. And
because
like
everything's based from like the 1990s, and we don't need that.
Yeah. So that was a great one. It helped me really like define some patterns in my past relationships. And actually, I forgot one. The Attached. Everyone needs to read Attached. That is dating. And define, so you can define your attachment style. That's a good dating one. And I rewatched, after reading Attached, I rewatched Sex and the City, and I went through and I was like, okay, so like Carrie's a total insecure and Big is a total avoidant, and like that's why so just
they're terrible together. But they're so good at the same time.
They're so good. Yeah,
to
exactly.
Watch, but I would never want to be in their shoes.
Exactly. So Attached is great. So learning about attachment styles, and then you can like think about your parents and other people's relationships, and then you see how things work.
That sounds like a really good one.
Yes. I can't believe I almost left it off the list, and I've been talking about it so much with my girlfriends. So Attached. Okay.
And this is just a very silly question, but what do you want to be when you grow up?
Honestly, I have so many interests. The one thing that I really can focus on and give you a straight answer is I just want to be this strong, badass female for my daughter. Like, I want her to see what it's like to be a strong woman, a strong, independent woman. And that's all I want to be when I grow up, is like a great example of how to do that.
I think you already are. Okay. How do you unwind after a grueling day? You're like, it's already one.
Definitely adult beverage. I love unwinding with cocktails or a glass of wine or beer. But because I'm so in my head all the time, I have to just binge watch something on Netflix, something silly where I don't need to think. Yeah, that's what I like to do. Mm-hmm.
I do too. It's so easy with Netflix there. Okay, so every serial entrepreneur needs a drink after a long day. What's your favorite type of cocktail? Speaking of.
Okay, so I don't know. I like so many. I could tell you probably more what I don't like than what my favorite is.
You're like, I have so many I like.
So many I like. But I think, well, when I go out, I really like vodka or tequila things. So Palomar has a great cocktail bar, so that is new-ish, and they make a tequila sour with like the egg white on it and designs and stuff. So that is a go-to for me. I love that. And then, but I'm a beer girl, you know.
What's your favorite beer?
Oh gosh. I love pale ales out here. So, pale ales are where it's at for me. I will do an IPA from time to time. But I used to drink an amber back in Wisconsin, and I didn't like IPAs or pale ales. And then moving out here, it's just, I
Tastes
adjusted.
better?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
ambers are terrible out here, so I no longer drink them here.
They
So I
are
gotta
a
go with the
little
pale ale. Yeah.
dark here.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. And so for passion or money?
Both.
Both. Huh?
I truly believe once you start aligning with stuff that feels right, that is your passion, that the money will follow. So I think you can have, I know you can have both, and you don't have to choose between, you can do both.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can't do both.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh,
I really
it's been
appreciate
an
it.
honor. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, I'm so glad this worked out for us.
Me too. It
And
was
I do owe
fun.
you happy hour.
Oh, of course. You don't owe me anything.
Yep.
Let's time block it into our calendars.
Yes, we need to do that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to my second episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed picking Lisa's brain on how she balances her life as a single parent, a realtor, and a life coach, and all the while creating a wonderful community where women can support one another. Again, I can't thank my awesome Boss Babes friend Lisa enough for taking the time to come on my podcast. If you'd like to go over what we covered today on my podcast, please visit joliepagel.com/podcast. Please do subscribe on SoundCloud or Apple Podcast and leave a review. I'd love the support. And tell me your takeaway from this show or what you would like to hear in the future. You can message me at @byjoliepagel on Instagram or email me at vivian@joliepagel.com. All of this info will be in the show notes. Please do share this podcast with your friends, fellow entrepreneurs, and future entrepreneurs, because life is about sharing. Until next time.